Yo, what is good? My anime faithful, what is good, yo? So, with Rick and Morty being Rick and Morty, we're truly learning that these guys have zero boundaries they're willing not to cross almost. And it just keeps getting to a point where we just have to be like, well, yeah, that's Rick and Morty for you. That is how they do and how it be. Not only do they go absolutely crazy with references to tragic events and just kind of putting themselves in the same bracket as those people or as those events by what they are doing, you can kind of already see where I'm going with this. In the case of it was pretty out there, and the thing about Rick and Morty as well is they're not afraid to like shoot jabs at themselves. Like there's not more than 5 episodes, or there's not less than 5 episodes of them bragging on themselves. Even if it doesn't seem like it, it more or less half of the time is them ragging on each other or how they work and whatnot. So it's kind of crazy to think of how much different stuff they've put forward uh, throughout each episode to pretty much just go to show us how ridiculous every episode truly can be. And this is another one of those things that maybe people don't agree with me or they do agree with me, which either way, it's whatever. I'm just saying the opinion I have, not trying to change anyone else's. But in my honest opinion, I think that Rick and Morty does the best content or the best episodes when they're just being outrageously weird and out there, right? Like by them having that free reign just to go off and do something relatively close to an alien spinoff without actually having a xenomorph in it, kind of gives you the instance that they've mastered the art of hiding um, too many copyright type of things within their show to make it its own unique thing, to make it its own standalone. So you can't be like, oh, well, I mean, they're obviously referencing something, but they're not literally verbatim using any actual, you know, lookalikes, I guess you can say, in the case of how the aliens actually come off looking compared to what these like face huggers look like. And not only do they, take that and run with it, but after these guys do what they do, they're the polar opposite of the aliens. Instead of becoming something much bigger and deadlier and crazy, they just become eggs again, and those eggs have no memory of what happened. So it's a cycle of them just pretty much not remembering anything from the past and becoming new and jumping onto a new host, which it seems like they live, easily without a host. It's more likely that they just can't talk with that one, I'm guessing. So it's nice to see where more and more creative juices for the Rick and Morty people are coming with, because if it is how it is from the last week's episode to this week's episode, we we might not be getting the types of episodes people expect. Like for instance, they were talking about interdimensional cable multiple times, but every time they mention it, then it's not like they then just actually showed us the interdimensional cable like episodes and stuff like that. They kind of just reference it. That's it. They're like, okay, on to the next thing, which to me just goes to show how focused they are to keep everything new, keep everything relatively different. So, and when I say different, I just mean they have no reason to just sit there and continue to give us, like the dog is taking over the world again. All the stuff that we loved and we saw, they don't need to give us that again. They can, but in this case, when they make something new, when they continue to just do something that is completely original, you can feel it. You can feel them just having fun with this story overall because they're not afraid of anything they said this week, or this week's weekend's episode. I will probably start dropping these reviews on Tuesday because no animes usually are coming out on certain days, so I'll just have this posted up then, but I'm making it like a day before just so I can even have more time when I wake up to do whatever I need to do and be able to get this video out to you guys on time. So everything I seen in this week's episode was funny. I mean, they even do the thing that they always do to Jerry and more, because all of a sudden at the end of the episode, some girl is actually like happy, or not happy, but she's kind of turned on just by the simple fact of what Jerry's doing, which is literally just having bees. um, and he's doing it for the honey, so it's very interesting just seeing how much they get away with in every episode, because the way we work as the fandom, supposedly, like the more of the populace of the fan base than not, is they're looking at every single thing at different angles to try to just figure out what could, or what's happening, what could happen, why it would happen. They're always looking for those types of things. Some people would call them reaching. Um, Sometimes they could be correct, but I feel like to those people, a lot of references were said towards them, right? Like people thinking that if they do things the way that they're talking about them in their theories, that's what makes the show better and whatnot. So I do enjoy where the cast of Rick and Morty people are coming from. Continue to do stuff that you yourself enjoy, because as soon as you stop enjoying what you're doing, it's going to be apparent, right? Like, for instance, I think a show that felt like they stopped doing what they enjoy doing and they just started doing more or less the same thing they had been doing was Family Guy. Family Guy went so far as to like going into the past to make fun of itself and how they set up like cutaways, like that just is how little they had to do, with making more stories up, making something that doesn't feel remotely the same as what we've already seen, which is pretty interesting in it all. So I honestly am looking forward to seeing what they end up doing with all this, because as of now, I'm pretty sure everybody can tell that something crazy should pop off practically every Rick and Morty episode because they have so many amazing ideas. But that's where also the end of this week's episode kind of hits home after everything's said and done with these face hugging, sentient beings, these aliens. Um, they pretty much figure out like, yeah, we could just watch interdimensional cable and we could just chill, but that's what Rick and Morty wants to do. They're like, let's not try so hard anymore and let's just relax. Like it's almost as if not only is it us, the fans, who feel like the show is just going 100 miles per hour and there's no real stop ahead of them because there's so much they can do. They've already referenced so much and proved that they can reference those things well, sometimes so well that you don't even understand it. Um, I think there was a reference in there that I didn't catch my first watching, and I was just kind of surprised. Oh no, it was last episode. I was just surprised at what they were getting at and how it was kind of just set forward and not even really that much of a um, like the way that they make stories, he straight up Rick found one of those things that the creators make to make the story and pretty much read it as the way that it was supposed to be, the way they would make the story, so even when they're pretty much going and doing their own thing, they're still including these small tidbits that if you don't watch everything that these guys do outside of Rick and Morty, you might not understand it until you get a more of a, like a look at just what the heck they were talking about, what the heck are they referencing, and that's what makes the show cool for me is finding out those things, not only through the people but through them themselves and what they can affirm is real and what's not. So everything we are starting to get within this show has been remotely fun, and I hope everybody's having a good one. I will definitely talk to you guys sooner than later. So, with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed yourself some Rick and Morty. Let me know what your favorite thing was in there. If you like this episode better than last week, anything like that, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.